Hey everyone, it's Kelsey. Welcome back to my channel, and we're gonna go through the books that I've read that we haven't talked about yet. I did not do a wrap-up for August, and obviously now I need to do one for September, so I have not talked to you guys since July about like my reviews of these books. So get a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, some water, whatever you want, get comfortable, and we're gonna chat. The first one is Floating Hotel by Grace Curtis, which I technically finished in July, but I finished it on the 31st, and I believe I filmed my wrap-up before that book, so like before I finished it, so I don't think it was included, but I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was so good. This is about a hotel in space. Obviously it's sci-fi, and it's just about like the different people who work at the hotel and like their lives, and they've all got like a different reason that they're at the hotel. Like some of them are like running from things, and it's fun because every chapter is from a different like character's perspective, so you get to see like what they're really doing on the ship. And there's like all these different reasons. Like someone's like running from the law, like the galactic law, whatever it's called. Someone else is like doing like a heist. Like there's all these like different reasons, and you get to see like all these different worlds and planets and stuff. I thought it was really fun. It's technically cozy sci-fi, which I didn't even know was a genre, and I am glad that I picked this up because I really loved it. And if you are a sci-fi person, I would recommend it, even if you're not, because I am not typically a sci-fi person, but I really enjoyed this. And I was skeptical. I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it. So that is the first one. And then I also read and finished in July, which I'm just gonna talk about this really quickly in case it's not in my July wrap-up, but I'm pretty sure it is. Star-Crossed by Josephine Angelini. This was a reread for me. 5 out of 5 stars. It is about... It's set in Massachusetts, which is fun for me because I live here. But it's about this girl who this family moves to her town, and then she like hates them on sight, and then it gets thrown into this world with like furies. It's basically like the Trojan War people are reincarnated, like Helen of Troy and like all of those people, and they're kind of living like this cycle like over and over and over again. So it is like an enemies to lovers, star-crossed lovers, hate to love romance sort of situation. There's like found family. I think that this book series, it's, well, there used to be 3, now there's more, but I've only read the trilogy, and the trilogy feels so perfect for me that I don't know that I want to read the rest of them. But I think it's criminally underrated. I think it's so much fun. I think it's the perfect representation of like that paranormal sci-fi, but in like 2015 to like, well, 2013, 2015, like when it was really good and everybody liked it. Like, you know what I mean? It has like the same energy as like Fallen or like the Lux series or like the Sweet Evil series. Like if you know, you know. I feel like if you like any of those like paranormal romance things, you should try this. I also think that if you're a fan of like Greek mythology and stories and stuff, like you would like this. Like if you're a fan of Percy Jackson, I feel like this is fun. This is like kind of just like a more adult romancy version of that almost, you know what I mean? So I would recommend this. Not enough people have read it. I don't see anybody talking about it ever, and I think that's a shame. So then I read Waysider by KJ Sutton. I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars. I read this for a certain vlog. I liked it at first. I thought the premise of it was really creative, and like the world was really creative. Basically the main girl dies, but like for like a minute, but then she gets like revived through like CPR, and then she gets these like powers of like a voyant, and she can like see ghosts, and like there's this whole kind of like world of people who have had near-death experiences, and the near-death experience has unlocked like their ability to like see ghosts or have certain like paranormal psychic powers sort of vibes. So that is what it's about. It's a really cool premise. And then they go to like a school, and you know I love a school, okay? But it just dragged on for too long, and then it kind of felt like nothing happened like in the middle to the end of the book, and then the ending was unsatisfying. Like I feel like I didn't get any answers to the questions that I had. But it says that it's the first book, but then there aren't any more books like when you click on the series. So I think it was supposed to be a series, but then the publisher like dropped it, which has happened before to some series. Like it happens every once in a while. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's what happened. So you were supposed to like, you know, it wasn't supposed to answer your questions. But so I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars, and I gave it 2 because like I did finish it, and I really like liked it at the beginning, and I do think the world was cool. I just am disappointed at the middle to the end sort of vibe. So I honestly wouldn't recommend this one. I say you can skip this one. Yeah, so that's kind of all I have to say on that. Then I read 2 Agatha Christie's. So I read The Double Clue, which is a short story, and I gave that a 3 out of 5 stars. I honestly don't even remember this one. Like, here's the thing, right? With short stories, I don't know always how to summarize them for you guys because I don't want to spoil and there's not a whole lot to work with. It is part of the, I'm gonna say this wrong because it's Hercule, but I always want to say Hercules for some reason. But so it's part of that. Curerot, I don't know. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's part of one of her detective series with like a certain character. And I thought it was fine. It's just like a classic, like someone died, someone got murdered, whodunit sort of thing. I don't know if Agatha Christie is for me because everything I've read by her has been like 3 stars or lower. So I'm like, maybe her writing just isn't for me, but I think that's sad if that's true because there's so many like things by her. She's written so much and like I wanted to like her, so I'm not quite ready to give up on her yet. Then I read The Bloodstained Pavement by Agatha Christie, and same story with this one where I gave it like a 2 out of 5 stars. Then if you've been watching, you know that I've been working my way through the Sherlock Holmes. So I read The 5 Orange Pips by Arthur Conan Doyle. I gave this a 1 out of 5 stars. I just think I felt that it was unresolved. It was definitely my least favorite one that I've read of his. Again, short story. I don't really know how to sum these up for you. I also read The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle, which is another short story, Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars, and that, I think that is that with the Sherlock. Then I also read The Gentle Art of Fortune Hunting by KJ Charles. I gave this a 1 out of 5 stars. I hated it. I thought it was so bad. I thought it was so boring. And I am disappointed because I was really excited about the concept of this one, and like I had a lot of other books by this author that I wanted to read, but I actually went through and removed them all from my want to read because this one was just so bad. The characters were horrible people and I didn't root for either of them. The whole concept, like the way it was executed, I didn't like any of the characters. I didn't like the 2 siblings. I thought that they were bad people. And then I didn't like the main guy. He was like whiny and old, and it was like it was like an age gap thing, which I didn't realize going in. Maybe that's on me, I don't know. But the concept is that there's like these 2 siblings who like are fortune hunters, so they like marry someone who has a lot of money so that they can use the money for their own gain. And then like they try to like justify that throughout the story. They're like, well, this person could marry someone that's like gonna abuse them, at least we're not gonna do that. It's like, or the person could marry someone that actually loves them for them instead of like people who just want them for their money. And it was like trying to be justified, and I was like, there is no way to justify this behavior, okay? And there was just no accountability. So no. I read a lot in August, mostly because I had a lot of currently reading books that I needed to finish, so we're still in August. And then I had a lot of short stories because I was working my way through the Sherlock Holmes, and then I obviously read some of Agatha Christie's. So then I finally finished The Risk, which is part of the Mindfuck series. This is by St. Abbey. I started this a year ago. I started this, it says September 25th in 2024, and I finished it August 2025. I gave this a 1 out of 5 stars. It was so bad, and I'm so disappointed because I really wanted to like it, and everybody else raves about this, so I was like, what is wrong with me that I don't like it? It's about this like FBI guy, and him and this serial killer like kind of like start liking each other and like start seeing each other, but the thing about them is like their relationship wasn't believable. It was almost like insta-lovey, so it just didn't really make sense to me, and we didn't really get to know the characters enough before they started the love story, so it was like I wasn't invested, I didn't care. I thought like the parts with her murdering people and why she was doing it, like her motivations, were interesting, but it as a whole was just poorly executed. But I gave it a 1 star purely because I was angry that I didn't like it, you know? Like, I feel like if I'm reading it and it actually like fills me with rage and I'm like that annoyed that it is bad and I didn't like it, that's usually a 1 star for me. Or if like I couldn't finish it, sometimes I'll rate it 1 star, but it's just like this book actually made me angry because I really, really wanted to like it. I read all of the short stories in the Bane collection, and some of them I finished in August and then some of them I finished in September, so this is kind of what bridges the gap. I did rate each story individually because last time I read only a few of the stories and I didn't mark which ones I had read, and then I forgot which ones I had read, and that was a big reason why I didn't pick it back up for so long. So I was like, I'm just gonna mark all the individual ones. And usually, I will say, Usually with short story collections, I will mark them separately because I do tend to rate them different things. For the Bane Chronicles, they all got 5 stars for me because I don't think I'll ever be able to rate a Shadowhunters book less than 5 stars. Like, it could be like terrible and I would still love it, you know? It's like my children. So everything got 5 stars for me and I really loved it. I thought it was super interesting. Oh, I forgot that I literally have it to hold it up. I annotated it a little bit and I only used blue and purple so it would match. I pretty much just annotated like purple for like Magnus stuff that I wanted to remember, or like certain like parts of a story I liked, and the blue is Alec, which is why it's all at the end, which is funny because for the Mortal Instruments I did it on purpose. Blue is my Alec color because his eyes are blue and they always talk about it. That's my baby. Can you tell Alec is my favorite character? Okay, so I really liked this. I thought that this was a really nice collection of short stories about Magnus's life, and he's like obviously such an interesting character because he's lived so long and he's got his magic and he just had so many like escapades, and it was just really fun. It's been cool to reread this and then rewatch Shadowhunters because they actually added a lot of Easter eggs from the Bane Chronicles specifically, and things that are only mentioned in here and not mentioned in the Mortal Instruments series that I didn't pick up on when I watched Shadowhunters because I hadn't read those stories in the Bane Chronicles. So it's fun to see all those like Easter eggs because they clearly did their research and their homework and actually read all the books, which I love. So that's that. So 5 stars for me. The other thing I really love about this is that there's little like comic strips at the start of each story. Hold on. Let me get one for you. And I just think that that's really cool. So I really love this and I'm really happy that I finally read them all and finished them all. So yeah, so I'm very happy. And this is what made me be like, you know what? I'm gonna reread the Mortal Instruments series because then I was in the mood for it. So my top 3 favorites are pretty much all the ones with Alec in it. So What to Buy the Shadowhunter, Who Is Everything, The Course of True Loves and First Dates, and then The Voicemail Box, which is the bonus story. Then we've got Saving Rafael Santiago would be my 4th favorite. I'm trying to keep track of this, so this is very difficult. And then my 5th favorite I would say is The Last Stand of the New York Institute, because you get to see the circle, you get to see a lot of like that war with Valentine in the beginning, and you get to meet like Stephen Herondale and like all of these names that you heard about circle members, which is cool. And you get to, again, it expands on things that were mentioned in the series, so that is fun. I don't know, I can't order these all right now, so maybe I'll do a tier ranking or something. But those are my top ones. That was about half, because there's like 11, so those are like my top 5 favorite ones. But anyways, I thought it was interesting because there's a lot of stuff that you get to expand on. You get to see, they have the fall of Hotel de Mort, and then, well, technically it's the rise of Hotel, I'm confusing myself. You got the fall of Hotel Dumont, and then you see the rise of Hotel du Mort. So you get to see like when they changed the names and when the vampires took the hotel over. That is what I was trying to say, but it was very difficult to say. Again, there's just a lot of stuff that's expanded on that's really fun. I also like the first story a lot, what really happened in Peru, because you get to see a lot of Ragnar, Katrina, and Magnus's friendship and like kind of how that operates, and I think that that was really fun to see. So that is my opinion. That was a really long-winded way to say that. Maybe I will like tier rank the short stories in there if that's something you guys would be interested in, because I feel like I could talk about it more in depth and longer than I want to in this video. Then I read The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. This is by Sangru Mandana. Hopefully I said that right. I gave this a 3.5 stars out of 5 stars, obviously. I give this a 3.5 stars. This is a just cozy romance about these witches, and in this world like witches aren't supposed to like live together or grow up together because like if there's too much magic in one place, like bad things happen. But the main girl gets called to this house to teach these 3 like witches, like little children witches that live together, and they're all like sisters because they were all adopted together, but technically that's like kind of like illegal in the witch world. Like they're not supposed to be living together because that's too much magic. So she agrees to like tutor them. And then there's kind of just like a found family aspect that goes on, and there's a romance aspect. So really cute story. I think it's perfect for Halloween time and around this time of year if that is your vibe. I had fun with it, so I would recommend if that is something that you were interested in. So then I read Fan Service by Rosie Danin. This I gave a 1 out of 5 stars. I was so freaking disappointed with this one. This is about a guy who plays a werewolf on TV in a TV show. Then he gets turned into a werewolf. And his werewolf transformation starts following like the mythology of the TV show. Such a fun concept, right? Horrible execution. They don't really dive into why he got turned into a werewolf and like the mechanics of that world. And then for some reason they made it an age gap romance, which is just not my thing. I just don't like it at all. But so they met at like a fan, like a Comic-Con thing, and then he's like an asshole to her, so she like starts hating him, which I just felt like wasn't a necessary layer to the story because they never really like address it. Like they get together and then she mentions it and they like laugh about it, and it's like why did we need this at all then? You know what I mean? It's so boring. You wouldn't think that it would be, but it was. I liked the werewolf parts, and I liked like learning about, like at the beginning when they start like giving him tests to see like if he's actually a werewolf, and then they're like, okay, we should like teach you how to control this. Like that part was fun. And the romance between them was interesting just in those parts. But for the rest of the book, it wasn't believable. They're not two characters that I think work together or like in a real world would like stay together, you know what I mean? They don't really have anything in common. I thought the main girl was really annoying. Kind of all she does is like complain and make horrible choices and then blame everybody else for her choices. And I didn't like the main guy either. He was whiny. He acted like a teenager, but he's 40, like 2 when this starts, and he's acting like he's like going to parties and acting like he's like in his 20s. And I'm like, come on, like we're done. But I'm like, you easily could have made them that age and had them act their age, and it would have made a better story. Like I think it would have been more interesting if he was still on the show when this was happening. Like instead he's like washed up, and it's like then it gets into this whole like the industry, and there's so many things that this book started preaching, like yay for vegans and just all this other like politically correct things that it was like pushing a political agenda, and I was like, this is not what I need. I just wanted like a cute werewolf like rom-com. I don't need all this political commentary. So that was annoying. It's a no from me. I did you know what I did like about this book though? I will say something positive. They had like the wiki articles like at the start of most of the chapters, which were interesting to read because it told you like in the show this is how werewolves work, and this is like this happened in this season. And I'm like, I would rather like read a book about the show because the show sounds far more interesting than this book. So that's the one thing I will say. So I read that one. Again, that's one of those things that I'm just mad that I hated so much because I was really excited for this book. I literally put it on hold at the library. It was like an anticipated release for me, and I'm just angry. I'm just angry. Then the last, well, not the last book, the second to last book that I read in September, should be no surprise to you that it is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I just read this in the vlog that you guys saw. This is obviously a reread for me. 5 stars, 6 stars, 10 stars, all the stars for this whole series for me, forever and always. You have to know what this is about, otherwise you live under a rock. But it's about, there are these half angel, half humans. They are shadowhunters. They hunt demons and protect the mundanes / mortals from the demons, and that is what it's about. The main girl, Clary, her mom gets abducted, and then she gets thrust into this world of shadowhunters and demons and uncovers like all of these secrets from her mom, and it turns into this epic saga. So if you have not read this series, what are you waiting for? Like, you need to read this series if you haven't read it, because it is hands down the best series of all time that I have ever read, and I will probably say that until the day I die. So 5 stars for me. City of Bones is a classic. I have reread this particular book the most, like in the whole series, because I just love rereading the start of it, you know, like you get it. Like Same for like how sometimes you'll just like rewatch the pilot of TV shows or like just season 1 because it's just fun to like experience the excitement of everything starting again and the characters getting introduced. Like that's kind of what this book is like. So I have reread this more than all of the other books because it is just fun to get this to see it start again. So that was that. And then the last book that I read in September, which yes, my bookmark is still in it, but that's because I have less than 100 pages left and I'm literally going to finish it tonight. It is still September for a bit. I'm just filming this a little early, so I know that I'm going to finish this in September, but that is City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Mortal Instruments series. Again, 5 stars from me forever and always. Super fun to read this book and to reread the series, but this book especially, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that I forgot because, and I even read this like 5 years ago, but there's still stuff that I forgot, like whole scenes that I forgot, and I forgot about like one of the battles in here. I don't want to say too much in case it's a spoiler. I don't think it is, but you know. So it's just fun, and then obviously it's fun to reread the scenes that I know that I love in here. So I'm very excited. I'm gonna finish this tonight and then I'm gonna immediately start City of Glass, but that is what I read in August and in September. Don't ask me to count how many books I read because I'm not going to. I think August was a pretty decent reading month because I got a lot of books finished that I had been in the middle of for a while. So for that was exciting for me. And then September, really solid reading month because I read the Bane Chronicles, which has been on my want to read for like 10 years now, and I've had it on my shelf for 10 years. And then rereading the Mortal Instruments is always fun because it just reminds me why I love reading, because that was the series that got me into reading. So overall, 2 solid reading months. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing what I read. Give it a thumbs up down below if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more content. It makes me very happy, helps my channel out a lot. Comment down below if you read any of the books that I read and what you thought. Let me know if you have any book recommendations for me. Let me know if you want to see me like rank the Bane Chronicles stories or any like Shadowhunter related videos you want me to do, because I would love to make something like that. So I will see you guys later with another video. Later, Gators. Bye.